Hi everyone, it's nice to see you. I think you can probably see my tabletop at the moment, or maybe you can see me, I'm not too sure. It's lovely to see you all, and I was very excited to see a screen with lots and lots of people in it. So hello to everybody there, I think from Germany, and everybody else. It's great to see you. As Jenny was saying, it's pitch black outside here now, so it's quite nice to be doing a nice indoor activity that still allows us to connect with plants and nature. So I'm a therapeutic gardener. I'm also a gardener. I'm not an artist. So if any of you are, I'm absolutely up for you giving me tips or adding ideas to what we're doing. But when I do sort of arts and crafts as therapeutic gardening sessions, I try to make them more about the method and less about the sort of product that we get at the end. It's all about just having fun, taking part, and just seeing what the results end up like. So I'm going to talk you through 3 activities tonight. I'm perhaps being ambitious, but I'm going to try it. So we're going to have a go at doing some wax rubbing of leaves and watercolour paints. We are going to try printing with acrylic paint and also some potato printing. So I've tried to think of activities that might suit a variety of different groups. You know, so some of these might suit older adults, some might suit kids, and you'll be able to adapt them all to various different groups. So I think I'll just get started. And the first one we're going to have a go at is the wax rubbing with watercolours. So I was saying to Jenny before, I have art materials spread all over my room, so you might see me dotting in and out of the table. I'm going to try and show you on my tabletop what I've been doing, and I've got some examples as well to show you afterwards. One thing just to add for all of these activities, they are a bit messy, they're quite painty, so whoever you're doing them with, you might want to think about, are they wearing clothes that don't mind getting painty? If not, do you have something you could give them? Are tables covered? And do you have a place to put things? Because what I've seen with these kind of activities is that people will start churning them out quite quickly, and you need a place to pop things to dry, maybe with their initials on or something, so that you can move things out of the way of people to let them kind of carry on working. So just a few bits of prep for you. So we're going to have a go at the wax rubbings first. So I've got just a box of standard crayons that you'd get. So I try to use materials that you can get anywhere. So these are just standard crayons that you'd get in any sort of shop. You can buy fancier crayons that are flat, completely flat rather than pointy, but they're more expensive. So I try to stick to the easier to find materials. So what you do have to do if they're pointy is try and use the flat edge of the crayon to give you a nicer rubbing. And then I quite like to use clipboards to hold paper in place for people, but if not, you can masking tape paper down if people aren't able to use both hands to hold the paper in place. And then the best part about this, I think, is just all the different leaves and plants that you can collect. So you can make that part of the activity if people are able to. They might want to come outside with you to collect different leaves. If you take them outside with a trug and some snips or scissors, or you can collect fallen leaves. So I've got some nice sycamore and oak. Sycamore work really well because of the nice veins that you get on them. So you can press the leaves in advance. So I have pressed these because I knew I wouldn't be using them for a couple of days. So it just kind of keeps them nice and flat, even just between a couple of books. If you aren't using them on the same day and they're fallen leaves, they kind of sort of curl up like this, so they're harder to use. So you want to try and either use them on the same day or keep them nice and flat. So I would imagine most people will have had a go at doing wax rubbings at some point in their life, even of bark out on a tree. I'm going to use a smaller one actually. So for some people, this might be quite nostalgic with the people that you're doing it with. So you just want to place your leaf underneath your bit of paper and then get your crayon. So I found that using the bolder colours works better for this activity. And then let me see where I put it. You could lay a few out or one. It's up to you. It's up to the people you're working with as well. They might want to make a nice sort of collage of different leaves. And then you are just, I don't know if you'll be able to see this. I might have to lift it up. But as I'm doing this, the pattern of the leaf is appearing. I will lift it up closer to the camera so you can see. And it starts to appear quite quickly.
Oh, that's magic.
And it's very satisfying. That I would say, yeah, since I've been practicing this, I keep wanting to do it because it just comes out so nice so quickly. I don't know if that's put upside down for everyone. So that's a leaf. I've done so many of these now, in all sorts of different shapes. But the next stage is to paint it. So you want to use, you've used a wax crayon and you want to use watercolour paints. So again, I just picked up this packet of watercolour paints from my local shop. They aren't from anywhere fancy, but I like it because it's got lots of colours. So if you were doing this with a group, you might want to have, you can get little smaller trays of watercolour paint so you can put them everywhere, or you might be able to have a palette per person. And then you'll need a little bowl of water and lots of paintbrushes for everyone to try. So you can tell I've been doing this already today. My water is looking a bit murky. And then you want to try and get the paintbrush and the paint to be quite wet so that it, basically the wax resists. So the wax resists the paint and you can still see the leaves behind it. So I went for a reddy pink crayon and I found that using a kind of opposite colour on the colour wheel, not a similar colour, seems to work quite well. And then you can, so what I found works nicely is to paint around the leaf with one colour. Again, you don't have to be prescriptive with the people you're working with. They might want to try out all sorts of different techniques. But I found that this works quite nicely and you don't have to be too fussy about sticking to the lines, but you can paint around this. So again, this is quite relaxing, trying to stick to the outline of the leaf, like this. And then if people are getting their paper really, really wet, what I tend to do is keep just an old rag or something or a bit of kitchen towel nearby, and you can place it over the top, just give it a quick pat over, and that'll soak off some of the excess moisture. And then I'm going to have a go at painting the leaf itself. Try using a different colour. So I'm going for green. And again, you want it to be quite wet so that it doesn't cover the leaf too heavily. And again, you're just trying to stick to the inside of the leaf this time. So I've done that pretty quickly. You could definitely spend time making it look different if you wanted to. I think I'll just pat that down a wee bit. So when they're first done, they don't look as dramatic as when they dry, but that will give you an idea of, I don't know if you can see it, trying to find the best angle of the leaf. But because it's wet, it's harder to see. So I did some earlier, I feel very Blue Peter-ish with my, so they dry and they become more dramatic. So these were some I did earlier with sycamore. I tried some with a hollyhock, which was quite nice. And what else have I had to go with? A huge oak leaf, which came out pretty well. And then one day I was feeling particularly just I did lots and lots on one page just to see how it would go, and tried paint. That took a while to paint, doing all the different colors. So if you've got people who are able to kind of sit and paint for a while, you can do all the wax rubbings in one go, and then they can paint. And I tried using, you know, red and orange to highlight the kind of autumnal colors. And after that, if people want to, they can just keep them as a piece of art for themselves, or you can cut them out. So I've tried various cutting out the leaf itself, or just cutting them out as a square, and then they can sit and glue them onto cards. You could put them on a bit of coloured paper for a different background to make them more dramatic. So you can also stick a few on one card, or start to do, I wouldn't mention the Christmas word, but I have, you know, you can make these Christmas if you want them to be. It's up to you. So that is the first of our activities. It's a bit of a whistle stop tour. And I thought it might be nice to stop for questions first, and then I'll move on to the next one.
That's great. Thank you very much, Emma. They're very pretty, aren't they? They're lovely. Nicola has a question for you. Nicola, can you unmute and ask your question, or would you like me to say it? If you can, please do.
Yep, sure. Thanks. It looks really amazing. I was just wondering what paper you use, because I was thinking it needs to be quite thin for the rubbing, maybe, but then you don't want it to, for the painting, maybe you want it to be a bit thicker, maybe?
Yeah, sorry, I should have mentioned that. It's just plain printer paper, so it is quite thin. And it seems to work fine, I think, particularly if you do the blotting, so that it's not staying too wet. And you definitely do need the thinner paper to do the rubbing, or it doesn't pick up the veins and things quite as nicely.
Brilliant. Okay, thank you.
That's all right.